Hello, world of YouTube, and welcome to the first Reformatted Discography review of 2022. You want to get access to all of what this year and next year has in store, probably at this point? Link in the description. I got loads of reformatted reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the rap metal icons Rage Against the Machine, all four of their records. I love this band, and I like talking about their music, so I'm sure this will be pretty easy to do, and hopefully you enjoy what I got. I think it's weird that the last, when did this come out, 2000? I think it's weird the last 21 years Rage haven't put out anything after Renegades. Not to say that they haven't come back, and they've been doing their own things, like One Day as a Lion and stuff like that, but Renegades, while still a great release, just feels like, I don't know, an uninteresting conclusion to what was a really good, prolific, poignant career. Not that, again, the covers don't make sense. You know, obviously them covering the rap stuff like Eric B. and Rakim, Africa Bambaataa, Renegades of Funk was a big single off of this. In EPMD and Cypress Hill, their How Could I Just Kill a Man, or How I Could Just Kill a Man cover is also really good and was also really popular for them. But I like that they also did other types of genres and made them fit so incredibly well under this umbrella. Their Minor Threat cover is incredible. Their Ghost of Tom Joad cover, fucking stellar. And I even like what they did with Maggie's Farm and Street Fighting Man, two Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan covers. I love what they did with those songs. Again, they made them fit their very intrinsically them style perfectly. Their Kick Out the Jams cover also makes a lot of sense. This is already immediately the second month in a row I'm having to talk about a great cover of Kick Out the Jams, but again, it fits their political mantra. You know, a lot of the covers work. Their Devo cover is incredible, and I like how soft that song is. Like, their cover is really well executed, and I love what they did with it. And again, kind of makes sense. And it shows their talent as a band that they could craft these great cover songs and adapt them so well. And this does a lot of what I seek out of a good cover. It makes it fit their sound. You know, in the same vein that I talked about the Deftones, when they do it right, it's in the same vein. Not all of it's all rap rocky, but they make it fit this archetype incredibly well. And the only reason why it's on the bottom is because it's the weakest. It's not full of the pulse-pounding singles or pulse-pounding, anthems that this band had become known for at this point. And again, it's just as unfortunate that this is where they end their stellar career that was their run throughout the 90s. Still, worth your time if you like this band, and I feel like, again, all of these are kind of essential listening if you want to listen to this project. This is the one instance where, I would listen to it if you like those records, just to hear what covers by them would sound like, at least to me. Because there's some cool stuff on here. Now, with Rage Against the Machine in particular, it's I'm always curious where people rank their discography, because again, their 3-album run, if you like them, more than likely you hold all of their records to a high caliber. And again, to say Evil Empire is the weakest of original material is like saying, I don't know, the original Star Wars is the weakest out of the original trilogy. You know, it's hard to say. Or that, the Fellowship of the Ring is the weakest part of the trilogy of Lord of the Rings. You know, all entries in this threesome, in this 3-album run, are stellar. Evil Empire, to me, just doesn't pack the same punches that Battle of LA and their self-titled record do. You know, I like a lot of the weirder guitar moments like Revolver and Snake Charmer. I love the grooves on Tire Me and Down Rodeo. Obviously the choruses on tracks like People of the Sun, Bulls on Parade, and Down Rodeo, rolling down Rodeo with a shotgun. These people only seen a brown-skinned man since their grandparents bought one. That is such a killer hook. And a lot of the riff work is also really cool. I like a lot of the guitars soloing on here. And I love, again, the tight grooves that are on here. But I like the experimentations, the places they take it more on Battle of LA, and I feel like while it is more expansive than their debut, what makes their debut so much better is that core, tight-knit sound that was featured on there. This is still 10 out of 10 work. I like a lot of again, the deeper political references that are laced on this thing. Again, there's grooves are just incredible, and I kind of like the sort of switch ups and dynamics in the flow that happen on here, like on Roll Right and Wind Below. Zach's doing more to experiment with this flow, as is Tom on the guitar, and I appreciate that, and I could see why someone would put this at the top given those circumstances. But to me personally, I don't, even though it's the only one of their records I have on vinyl, and that's for a reason, at least as far as why I bought it, it just sits at the bottom because it's not, again, it's just not those two. I love this record, and I think it's still a classic full of greatness, but it's just not quite the two spot or the one spot. What I like about Battle of Los Angeles is they took those experimentations seen on Evil Empire and they interpolated it into different ways, whether it was the very bass-heavy mic check, which has some really cool bass work, or they integrated this more jazzy style tightness, this funk jazz style tightness on Sleep Now in the Fire. That verse, that drum work in the verses is just incredible, and that bass line is fucking sick as hell. Like, I don't think Tim was slept on the first two releases, but I feel like he does shine more in pockets on this record. That I'm happy to see, because I think Tim Comerford is a great bass player, and I feel like his grooves, again, similarly to that to Evil Empire, are just beefed up even more. You know, the stellar choruses like on Calm Like a Bomb and Guerrilla Radio and Testify. That 1-2 punch of Testify and Guerrilla Radio is incredible. I also really like the softer moment on here, Born of a Broken Man. I like in Voice of the Voiceless. I like the weird guitar effects on tracks like Maria. I like the Kill Switch riff in Ashes of the Fall. I like the experiments more on here, and I feel like they pay off better. They make them into tighter grooves on this project than they did on Evil Empire. Evil Empire does a lot more of the experimenting than this record does, but what they do here puts them into different realms that I feel like work well for the band. Again, similarly to Evil Empire, it just does a lot to just continue the greatness that the band was already pillaging forth off on. You know, the guitar effects are still really crazy. Zach is still frothing at the mouth at points. But I do like that they do pull it back even more than they did on those first two records, and sort of set themselves up to some of the covers that they would do on Renegades. It's a great-ass record that I feel like, even as a kid, you know, I was just immediately hooked to a lot of the singles on here. I liked a lot of what the band was doing, you know, sonically. And when I eventually got to Evil Empire, it's where I sort of appreciated where some of these ideas got their genesis. You know, I don't know. This record just feels as bold, but slaps harder than Evil Empire, if that makes a lot of sense. And that's why it's my number 2. Again, still essential listening. Both of these records are, including their debut. You can't really go wrong with starting at any point in their career, because if you like this sound, you're gonna like everything. But I feel like Battle was a great place for their sound to eventually end up, personally. Even if it isn't super out there for them, what weird new things they do still hit just as hard, man. I mean, dude, this record is perfect. If I'm talking about a tight 10-song experience, it's Rage Against the Machine's debut. From, again, that killer bass line and bomb track that the band just uses to build up to that incredible chorus, which, again, if we're talking about stellar choruses, almost every track on here has a moment to just scream at the rafters. Whether it's Take the Power Backs, you know, kind of tight groove into its chorus, you know, or Killing in the Name. That track alone, again, 1-2 punch, bomb track into Killing in the Name. Fucking sane. But also to bring in, again, a little more of that funk influence on Bullet in the Head. You know, the Maynard feature on Know Your Enemy, his intensity matches Zach's in a great way. Wake Up and Freedom, not coming back to back, but to coat the last half. And those two incredible, again, build-ups. Those two tracks, just while longer in length, they utilize to a great, incredible build up. And again, so many great lines, whether it's killing in the name of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses, or that anger is a gift, just small little bit before the explosion on freedom is awesome. So many great moments. It's one of my favorite records of all time. Top 10, this record. Again, all three of these records, top 20 for sure. But this record sits so high to me because they got it so right the first time. What guitar effects are done here are still mind-blowing. You know, that groove is still so tight-knit. You know, I love a lot of Brad Wilk's, you know, tight lines. And again, the bass work by Tim is fucking stellar. And Zach is his angriest here. While he stays angry, that dude never has a happy day in his life, it seems. When he screams on here, and again, it makes sense that they would cover stuff like Minor Threat later on in their career, because at this debut level, it's just very punk in a raw sense, and I feel like it's so tight, it's insane to me that this is the foot they started off on, because it already shows a band harnessing, knowing what their sound is going to be, and just nailing it completely on the head right out the gate. It's awesome. It's again, it's hard for me to not recommend any three of these records to start. If you want something a little more variety in their sound, start with Evil Empire. If you want something that takes that variety and turns it into some heavy, beefy ass, if you want the beefiest rap rock experience, start with Battle of LA. But if you want the tightest record in this caliber that is sharp politically, very raw and aggressive in a punk sense, while keeping that hip-hop mentality at its core, start with their debut. It is a perfect album. All three of these pretty much perfect experiences. You can't go wrong. But this album is magical. It's perfect, and it's a record that still to this day gets me ready to just tear down the rafters in the best way possible. And that's why it's my favorite. I don't have any other things to say other than just listen to it. If you've never experienced Rage Against the Machine, I heavily implore you, especially after where the political and the economic climate has been over the last couple of months, at least in 2021, in 2022, still, I don't know where the world's at a year from now, but I'd assume it still feels poignant in a lot of reasons, and I feel like you should listen to it. Their politics get very heavy in a very extreme way that I know others really won't align with. You know, they are very much lyrically extreme politics. But a lot of what they say in certain instances still feels resonant to just a good core. And it's good to listen to. And it's great hype music. You know, a lot of angry white dudes like Rage Against the Machine at points in their life. But those that really listen to the lyrics and look at the politics, I mean, there is some stuff that feels very precedent to say even 20, almost 30 years later since the debut. And I feel like that's a testament to the power and the writing of this band. And that's why I think their catalog, but also their debut, is a great place to start. For them to be writing stuff that still feels resonant, 29 as of filming this, 30 years as of posting this years later, it's worthwhile just for that alone. And that's why I'm recommending it to you today. That's it. It's my review. That's the review. It's short, sweet, and to the point this month. If you want to see, again, this review from last year and all of the other reviews I've dropped from here to now on the Patreon. I don't know where I'm at now in the beginning of 2022. Who the fuck knows? Check it out, linked in the description. If you like this review, be sure to give it a like. If you want to see more of my music, gaming, and general notary content, be sure to subscribe. Special thanks to my patrons. If you want to join their ranks to get early access to content, exclusive content, or to help drive the community, again, or to get access to stuff like this in advance, it's linked in the description. My YouTube cuts of these are always longer. Talk about the band sound, my love of it, stuff like that. I'm going to get out of here. I've been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, situations, and I'll see you another day.